Well, hey guys, this is NRA Man Forever coming to you from South Texas, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about an interesting debate that's been going on for a pretty good while in the firearms community. I was at Academy doing a little bit of window shopping, just that I was in the neighborhood, and I overheard the guy at the counter, I'm not going to name his name, talking to a customer that didn't really know a whole lot about guns and was curious about looking into getting a firearm for his for self-defense, home defense specifically, and well, he was talking about looking at wanting to get a shotgun. Without doubt, one of the best home defense guns out there. And I overheard, I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to the conversation. I was just kind of drooling a little bit over the Glocks. But I really keyed in when I heard the guy talking about Buckshot and Birdshot and which one is a better self-defense round, and that's what this video is about. Pretty much it's Buckshot versus Birdshot. And I will admit right here and now that traditionally speaking, ballistically speaking, Buckshot is the preferred and ideal ammunition for self-defense with a shotgun. However, most self-defense and specifically home defense shootings occur within 20 feet or so. Very few houses have hallways or corridors longer than 30 feet. Very few houses have rooms larger than 20 foot long. So the realistic distance you're going to be looking at 9.98 times out of 10 in a self-defense related shooting when it pertains to home defense is going to be, within 20 feet. Now, Buckshot, if you are not new to the firearms community and not new to guns, Buckshot is very large pellets. In your typical 12 gauge, it's going to, depending on the manufacturer, it's going to be 8 to 9 pellets of double-aught buck. Now, just like with any shot shell, once it leaves the barrel, it starts spreading. At first, it's a very gradual spread, but as the distance increases, the spread increases exponentially. And once you get out to 10 yards, Buckshot is really not a very effective choice of munitions. You've got anywhere from 6 to 12 inches of spread between individual pellets, and you've only got, like I said, depending on what brand you buy, 8 to 9 pellets versus Birdshot. Now, I know there are going to be people that watch this video that are going to have a coronary when I say this, but Birdshot, in most self-defense scenarios within the home, is just as good, if not better, than Buckshot. Now, Birdshot, yes, it is a smaller pellet, but there's more of them. You get more coverage on the target. There's less spread between the pellets. So instead of instead of 8 roughly .22 caliber projectiles hitting a target the size of a human torso, anywhere from 3 to 4 inches apart from each other, you have a large 75 caliber wad of shot coming together in a concentrated spot. And even when you get out to the more extended ranges as far as typical home defense goes, it's still, all of the shot is going to be on that human torso. And I know there's going to be some people that are going to make the argument, or attempt to make the argument of, well, what about stopping power? What about knockdown power? Any shotgun round is going to have an immense amount of kinetic energy behind it, simply because of the fact of how big a shotgun bore is. As I said, a 12 gauge bore is, depending on the brand, a 74 to a 77 caliber bore. That is a big bore. That is 3/4 of an inch. And it's all filled up with shot. So that is a rather large amount of lead flying out at somebody. And it doesn't matter if it's buckshot, it doesn't matter if it's birdshot. In pretty much every home defense scenario, birdshot is just as good, and in some cases, by some arguments, it might even be a little bit better than buckshot, simply because you have more lead in a more concentrated area, and you have more coverage on your target. And again, I want to stress this. This is strictly speaking within that 20-foot, typical distance that most home defense shooting situations occur in. If we're talking about really extended ranges, you get out to 15 plus yards. If you have to use a shotgun, it really doesn't matter what you use. Birdshot, you will hit your target, but there's not going to be anywhere near as much kinetic energy behind it connecting with the target. With buckshot, you might hit your target, you might not. And the likelihood of a hit with buckshot decreases exponentially as the range increases. And the amount of kinetic energy behind a clump of birdshot fired, again, that decreases exponentially as range increases. So this is strictly speaking along the lines of a inside the home type defense scenario. And just to make the point, I'm going to cut to some field footage that shows the difference between Winchester double-aught buck 12 gauge and Winchester number 6 steel at 25 feet. Okay, target on the right is going to be used for the number 6 shot. Again, this is a Winchester number 6. Target on the right will be used for the Winchester double-aught buck. Now, the double-aught buck, this is one of the 12 gauge loads. It's got 9 pellets in it. So I'm going to get a little closer and get this thing ranged out to a typical home defense range. Very rarely are you going to be shooting at somebody within your home from a distance farther than where I am to that tree, which is right at 16 feet pretty much. So let's see what the 6 shot does real quick. Not bad. Now, for the 12 gauge. The buckshot. Again, this is Winchester double-aught buckshot. in a 2 3/4 inch shell. With 9 pellets of lead. Alright people, let's go take a closer look. Now as you can see, that Birdshot blasted a hole straight through this piece of wood with no issues whatsoever. Just absolutely devastated it. So all you people out there, they're always saying, oh, Birdshot is a shitty self-defense load. Take a peek. That board didn't look like that beforehand. Birdshot will kill somebody. This would be all over the front of a human torso. This would be the entire front of the average human torso. If I take this target down and I hold it against my chest, that is my chest. That is everything. Every BB would have been on my body at that range. And as you can tell, Birdshot does a hell of a lot of damage under the right circumstances. If you're trying to shoot somebody from 50 yards away, a shotgun is not the right weapon to do so with. But in your typical home defense scenario, Birdshot will do just fine. This is the Buckshot. Now, this is a really good grouping with Buckshot. As you can see, all 9 pellets fell within, about a 5 to 6 inch group. It's more concentrated, but then again, if I'd have given it another 10 or 15 feet, that Buckshot would have spread out a lot more. Now, as you saw, those were the results. I'm not going to preach anymore. I'll get off my soapbox. I'll let you guys draw your own conclusions. But just remember, keep an open mind. And just because the guy behind the gun counter says something, it doesn't always mean it's true. You've always got to be able to do your own research, and if you're new to firearms, it's exponentially more so important that you do your own research and find out what is fact and what's bullshit. This is the NRA Man Forever. I thank you for watching, and remember, united we stand, divided we will fall. Join the NRA.